Hello everyone, my name is Lutfi, and in this video we are going to talk about molecules shape and function, and these are the main subjects for this video. And so without any further ado, let's get started with our video. So as you might know, a molecule has a characteristic size and shape, okay, which are key to its function in the living cell. Okay, and a molecule containing of two atoms, okay, such as H2, which is the hydrogen gas, and or O2, which is the oxygen gas, is always linear. Okay, so their shapes are always linear, but most molecules which are which have more than two atoms have a more complicated structure. Okay, and in these two pictures in the bottom part, okay, these are the H2 and O2, but these two pictures over here, they are more complex structures or molecules which contain more than two atoms. Okay, so this one is glucose, and its formula is C6H12O6, and this one is methane, or CH4. Okay, and the and the position of the atoms orbitals determine the shape of atoms. Okay, and the arrangement of the atoms determine the shape of atoms as well. Okay, and so the orbitals in its valence shell undergo changes. Okay, so the atoms that want to make valence they want to make a covalent bond, their orbitals change. Okay, and undergo rearrangement. Okay, so for atoms with valence electrons in both the s and the p orbitals, the single s and the p orbitals form new hybrid orbitals. Okay, shaped like identical teardrops extending from the region of the atom's nucleus. Okay, as you can see in this picture in the right. Okay, so they are like teardrops coming out of the nucleus. Okay, nucleus of that atom. And so if we connect the larger ends of these teardrops with lines, okay, we will get the outline of a geometric shape called a tetrahedron. Okay, or a pyramid with a triangle base. Okay, and in this picture, okay, which is on the left side, okay, if you look at these pictures carefully, okay, you can see that these two molecules, okay, this one and this one, have the same number of atoms. Okay, so they are both made up of 6 carbon, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens. Okay, but one of them is L-glucose and one of them is D-glucose. Okay, so why are their names like this? Okay, so because their atoms, okay, are differently arranged inside this molecule. Okay, and that makes this atom different from the other one, and so that the other glucose, D-glucose, has different characteristics than L-glucose. Okay, so yeah, the arrangement of atoms is important as well. So for water molecules, two of the hydrogen orbitals two of the hybrid orbitals in the oxygen's valence shell are shared with hydrogen. Okay, and here is the molecular shape. That's what I was talking about. Okay, so this picture over here. and as I told you, it is a tetrahedron. Okay, and so as you can see, the shape of the molecule is roughly like a V shape. Okay, with its two covalent bonds at an angle of 104 and a half. Okay, as shown in this picture. And so the methane molecule, which is CH4, has a complete shape of a complete tetrahedron, because all four hybrid orbitals, okay, of the carbon atom are shared with hydrogen atoms. Okay, and as you can see in this picture, and the carbon nucleus is at the center of center. Okay, with its four covalent bonds radiating to hydrogen nuclei. Okay, at the center of the tetrahedron. Okay, or the corners of the tetrahedron. I was wrong in the first time. Okay, so the hydrogen nuclei at the corners of the tetrahedron. And so large molecules containing multiple carbon atoms, including many of the molecules that make up living matter, have more complex overall shapes. Okay, and however, the tetrahedral shape of a carbon atom bonded to four other atoms are often a representing motif within such molecules. Okay, so they are mostly like each other, like this methane gas. Okay, so as you all know, molecules shapes are crucial because it determines how biological molecules recognize and respond to one another with specificity. Okay, and the biological molecules often bind temporarily to each other by forming weak interactions, but only if their shapes are complementary. Okay, so consider the effects of opiates. Okay, and drugs such as morphine and heroin derive from opium. And I couldn't find a better example, so sorry. Okay, so now we are going to continue. So opiates relieve pain and alter mood by weakly binding to specific receptors, receptor molecules on the surface of brain cells or neurons, and they just mess with the neurons and not in a good way. Okay. So you might ask or say that why would neurons, which are inside the body, carry receptor molecules on their surface for opiates that are compounds that are not made by the body, okay, and don't exist in the body. Okay. So in 1975, the discovery of endorphins answered this question. So endorphins are signaling molecules made by the pituitary gland, okay, that bind to the receptors, relieving pain and producing euphoria during times of stress, such as intense exercise. Okay. And the brain knows when to use these endorphins. Okay, but when people use these drugs, they just mess with the rhythm. Okay, so these drugs just mess or these people just mess with their rhythms in their minds. Okay, and so it takes the mind out of its normal rhythm, and this has very bad effects on the body. Okay, and so opiates have shapes similar to endorphins. Okay, and so they mimic their structure. Okay, by binding to endorphin receptors in the brain. Okay, and that causes the brain to think that the pituitary gland is producing these endorphins. Okay, but it's not. It doesn't know that they are uh, out of the body or drugs. Okay, so and that was the answer of why do we have receptors in our brain for opiates, and uh, how does the endorphins or opiates have similar effects as opiates. Okay, no, endorphins. Okay, so these are some examples of this law. Okay, so morphine coding, okay, is like coding. Okay, so it mimics the structure of coding. As you can see, they are very similar, but in morphine we have a hydroxyl group attached to this other structure, but in this one the oxygen is bound to the CH3 molecule. Okay, and another example is caffeine, and caffeine is a kind of opiate, but it's not that bad and doesn't have any bad causes for the body as the other opiates, and it just mimics the structure of adenosine. Okay, and so caffeine is like this, that we have specific places or receptors for adenosines, okay, to bind to these receptors, and they make the brain feel tired. Okay, so when the brain is working hard, or has worked hard, it produces adenosine. Okay, but and this adenosine goes and binds to the receptors in normal form, and it causes the brain to say that it's tired. Okay, but when caffeine binds besides or in the place of adenosine, okay, it just fills this receptor, okay, receptor's head, and so the adenosine can't bind, okay, and so the brain feels energized. Okay, but have in mind that after the caffeine's effect runs out, okay, the adenosine that is just filled inside the brain, okay, and it has more than it has more amounts than in the first time. Okay, it just makes you feel really tired than if you didn't have caffeine. Okay, so that's why drugs are very bad for the body, and they take the body out of rhythm. So, in conclusion, the role of molecular shape in the brain chemistry illustrates how biological organization lead to a match between structure and function, which is one of biology's unifying themes. And so that was all for this video, and if you like this video, please hit the like button and hit subscribe if you want to see more and better videos, and if you had any questions, please write them in the description below. I will answer them in a day or two, and you can share this video so that many people or other people can gain knowledge about all these stuff that we talked about today, and so until the next video, happy learnings to you all.